The Schumer shutdown is backfiring big time on Democrats. I am so glad the government is shut down. I hope that it remains shut down. I hope that President Trump takes advantage of this once in a lifetime opportunity, dare I say, deal, and use Russ Vaught of the Office of Management and Budget for the White House to permanently cut the size and scope of the federal government. This is an opportunity that President Trump may not get again, and it's very important that he doesn't squander it, that we don't squander it. Honestly, what you have is the Democrats protested against DOGE, but they were so dumb in allowing the government to be shut down. What they forgot is about the reductions in force, known as RIF, which I'll explain momentarily, that actually can do just as much, if not more damage than DOGE without all of the fuss. And there's absolutely nothing that Democrats can do about it. And by the way, they do want to pay for illegal aliens, or want you to pay, or us to pay for the health care of illegal aliens. They're playing a word game with us. I'll explain that. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, do not forget to subscribe to the podcast, like and share it. Por favor. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. Wherever you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find me. Also, we're trying to get to that magical number of 10,000. So if you would help us out on YouTube, we would certainly appreciate that. Again, anywhere you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show is where you can go. Where you can go to find us. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something that I'll share with you momentarily. Also, all things social media: X, Instagram, and Facebook at Carl Jackson Show. Actually, I'm going to forget this, so I'm just going to make mention of this. So Bad Bunny is going to be. I didn't play the video earlier this week. I meant to, but just ran out of time. But obviously, Bad Bunny is going to be performing at the Super Bowl. And the video, maybe I did show it. I don't remember. But anyway, Bad Bunny is he said at one point in time that he won't be performing on mainland United States because he feared that some of his audience, some of his fans might be arrested by ICE. But he was a hypocrite. I mean, he didn't want to. I understand. Listen, getting to perform at the Super Bowl is a monumentous occasion that no artist would ever dare pass up. It doesn't mean, however, that he's not a hypocrite, because he said he would never perform on mainland United States. Many people believe that Jay-Z had something to do with this because he kind of wanted to stick it to President Trump by bringing Bad Bunny on. So now President Trump, and I think it's funny, they're trolling Bad Bunny. Now they're saying they're going to bring ICE agents to the Super Bowl in case. I just think that's hilarious. All right, so that's me. I know it may seem childish and petty on Trump's part, but what Jay-Z was trying to do with Bad Bunny, and by the way, I found out there's some tricks when it comes to live streaming. Just because he's number one, I guess, in live streaming over the last couple of years, those numbers are manipulated in such a way where he isn't necessarily the most attractive or popular artist out there. But allegedly, Jay-Z has something to do with that as well. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. I just thought it was hilarious. I never got into the Bad Bunny drama this week. But anyway, I just thought that was funny. Now, let me get back to Democrats talking about, they're trying to blame Republicans for the shutdown. First off, we don't give a flip anymore. All right. Here's a dirty little secret. If I said this once, I've said it 1,000 times about government shutdowns. The reason why even rhinos or Democrats fear government shutdowns is because the media will hype up government shutdowns. The parties will hype up government shutdowns. And then you're like, my life hasn't changed. I'm still getting the mail. There's still our military service, or they're still intact. I still see the politicians, still see Trump. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's really slowed down. All the essential functions of government are still there. The IRS, unfortunately, keeps taking your money because they're not actually funded by the government. They're funded by your taxpayer dollars that you have to pay taxes for. So they're funded. The same is true with the patent office, the U.S. Patent Office. Same is true for them. The people that are trying to get patents, pay them. So none of those institutions shut down, but all of the necessary, all of the essential institutions, functions of the federal government continue during the shutdown. In essence, the only offices that don't continue working or are furloughed temporarily are the non-essential, the people that are non-essential in government. That's the dirty little secret. Nobody wants you to know that we could literally cut the size of government overnight and we would be just fine. And we would save a buttload of money. We would be just as safe, just as efficient, if not more so. That's the dirty little secret, in case you don't know. So this government shutdown, it's always about drama. But the left has been saying, one of the things that the left is saying is, no, we don't want to fund illegals or healthcare for illegal aliens. But there is where did I see this at? I believe it was Breonna Lyman of the Federalist. She broke down what the left is doing is they're playing a word game. This is very smart by the left. Essentially, what they're doing is, all right, so when Biden allowed for all of these illegal aliens to come into to the country, what did he started calling them, and what did they design? They designed all of these, the temporary protection status, TPS. That may have been around before, but they took advantage of that. They also, she writes, this is Breonna Lyman of the Federalist, about the fact checkers rely on the ludicrous claim that foreign citizens who were dumped into the United States by the millions by the Biden administration via blanket parole grants are not really illegal aliens. Okay, so that's it. So basically what the left is saying, they're saying, oh, no, listen, we're not trying to provide health care for illegal aliens. And it's it's a word game. The truth is they are. They're just not calling them illegal aliens. These are people that Biden claimed are temporarily have TPS, temporarily protected status, or they have they're basically parolees, if you will, asylum seekers, parolees, legal resident citizens or something to that effect. They call them. They're calling them. So because they're not calling them illegal aliens, they're saying they're not paying for the health care of illegal aliens. You get it? This is who the Democrat Party is. I want to play Chuck U. Schumer. I'm going to go through some clips and then I'm going to break down a little more about the shutdown, because this is an excellent opportunity. Russ Vought of the Office of Management and Budget released a memo telling agencies that if the government had to daily signal were to shut down, and now they should consider engaging in reductions of force. Remember, I spoke about that. Reductions of force, while the left and the federal government unions, why the heck do we have federal government unions? FDR warned us about this. All right. So why do we have these unions inside of the federal government? Here's why I love this particular shutdown. Here's why this is different. Russ Vought and Donald Trump. They can literally make permanent changes. But let's go through some of the shenanigans. I'll get into more detail shortly here. I'm going to play some videos. If we could go to cut number 26, Chuck U. Schumer on the floor. Chuck U. Schumer, all right, the Senate minority leader, is saying that the New York Times basically can't be trusted. I want you to hear this clip. The New York Times is biased, is what he argues. This tells you that they have totally lost the PR campaign when it comes to this government shutdown. Cut number 26, por favor, Gabe.
Now, I know the leader is going to show a poll that says that Democrats will be blamed for the shutdown. There are many more polls that show Republicans are blamed. The question in that poll is biased. Biased. In the New York Times, but it's biased. If you turn the... That's true. I don't always believe the New York Times. You can be sure of that. Neither do you. Okay.
That's Chuck U. Schumer claiming that the New York Times, or them writing, excuse me, that the New York Times writing that Democrats are going to be blamed for the shutdown is biased. New York Times. The New York Times, as we all know, is not only a socialist paper, but it is an arm of the DNC. We've known this for decades. And now he's claiming they're biased. This is how you know the PR battle for the Democrats is going horribly with this shutdown. They must have polling. They know something that we don't know. They're trying to spin the news. They're trying to turn this shutdown back on Republicans. And I got to tell you guys, in my opinion, this shutdown is completely worthless unless Russ Vought and the president of the United States, Donald Trump, uses it to their advantage and seriously cuts the size and scope of the federal government, which they are legally allowed to do under a government shutdown. Democrats screwed up big time. Now they're realizing they screwed up big time. They thought they were playing the old game. Who's gonna the game of chicken, right? Who's gonna cave first? We're in different territory right now. Democrats screwed up big time. Chuck Schumer screwed up big time. He's trying to protect himself against a primary with AOC, and it's not going well for Chuck Schumer. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for MyPillow. A major retail chain just canceled a massive order, leaving MyPillow with an overstock of classic MyPillows. Now it's your game. For a limited time, MyPillow is offering their entire classic collection at true wholesale prices. You get the standard MyPillow for just $17.98. If you want more, upgrade to queen size for only $22.98 or king size for $24.98. Snag body pillows for just $29.98. And versatile multi-use pillows for just $9.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, that is CARL, or call 800-858-0263. All right. Plus, when you order totals of $75 or more, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts, no strings attached. That's right. Premium pillows at unbeatable prices and bonus gifts to top it all off. Don't wait. Head to mypillow.com right now or call 800-858-0263. And don't forget to use the promo code Carl, CARL, to grab your standard MyPillow for just $17.98. That is insane. Can't beat that with a bat. I want to play another video clip for you. If you'll get cut number 34 ready, Gabe. This is Speaker Mike Johnson. He was on with George Stephanopoulos, but just so you understand, before we go to the clips, just so you understand the history of this shutdown. All right, so all that was happening is Republicans wanted a clean CR, continued resolution. Republicans weren't doing anything significant, so it's not even worth patting them on the backs unless they use this shutdown and this reductions in force program to really cut the size and scope of government. But Republicans weren't doing anything significant. They were saying, listen, we already passed the Biden budget last year. We're still living by the Biden budget until the big, beautiful bill kicks in. Let's continue with the Biden budget. So let's pass a clean CR, continued resolution. We're not going to lower spending. We're not going to up spending. We're just going to do it clean. All right, clean CR. The same thing that Biden did 13 times and what's his name? Chuck Schumer did 13 times. All right. But no, Democrats, they're not satisfied with that. They demanded that Congress continue COVID-19 era Obamacare subsidies. They wanted a change in the Medicaid reforms that Republicans have made with the big, beautiful bill. So those people, lazy people that are taking money, that can be working, that are able-bodied people and aren't working, but they're getting government assistance. I don't mind if people need government assistance. I shouldn't say we all need it, but there are times in my life where I needed it, where our family needed it. And I remember my mom and dad telling us, hey, we're on this, but then we're getting off of it. So it happens. It happens. But what the Democrats want is they want a perpetual underclass. They don't want people to get off of these programs. They don't want people to do better for themselves, because if they do, then people will start working. They'll start putting money away. They'll start saving. They'll buy a house. They'll buy a car. And then they'll start saying, man, I don't want the government taking, all of my money. And this is what the Democrats fear. This is what the Democrats fear. So they wanted to continue. COVID had to daily signal COVID-19 era Obamacare subsidies. They wanted to continue that. All right. That's insane. They didn't. They wanted to reverse the Medicaid reforms in the one big, beautiful bill. That's insane. And they want to give health care to illegal aliens. And they're claiming that they don't. Here's George Stephanopoulos. Remember, the media, mainstream media, is just an arm of the Democrat Party. We know that. New York Times, just an arm of the Democrat Party. That's why Chuck Schumer in that video, his colleagues laughed at him. His colleagues laughed at him. Chuck Schumer has become a laughing stock. And when he said the New York Times is biased against Democrats, even his colleagues had to say, whoa, Chuck. That's just asinine. That's just dumb. That is just clear desperation on Chuck Schumer's part, where he's got to be sweating bullets because he's looking at AOC or he can smell AOC right behind him. I'm not sure she wants to go for Senate as much as she wants to go for president now. Because frankly, I hate to say this. As a matter of fact, months ago, I would have said she's so dumb, it just won't happen. But it seems to me that AOC is the one that's running circles around everybody in the Democrat Party. Hakeem Jeffries is kissing her booty. You got Chuck Schumer kissing her booty. They're all concerned about AOC. You got Gavin Newsom, who's, slick Rick, if you will. But at the same token, he has to go as far left as AOC, he believes, in order to win the nomination. But here's the thing. I think if she ran, she's more likable than him. I'm not sure that she could argue as well. But I'm starting, as much as I can't stand her, I'm starting to have more respect for her as far as, just sheer politics is concerned. Let's go to cut number 34. This is Speaker Mike Johnson basically debating DNC, the DNC apparatus, George Stephanopoulos on mainstream media. Cut 34, please, Gabe.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly...
No, we go ahead and... I apologize. I called for the wrong video. Let's just go ahead and play that. Oh, that's VP Vance.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and congressional Republicans turned off that money to health care funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to turn it back on. And in their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for health care benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point. It is in the text of the bill that they initially gave to us to reopen the government. It's preposterous for them to run away from it now. But look, let's set that all to the side. Let's open up the government. Let's negotiate on all these healthcare policy issues. Obviously, we're not going to support healthcare benefits for illegal aliens, but we will work with them to lower healthcare costs for American citizens if they're willing to do so.
Okay. So that's VP Vance. I got to tell you, he has been absolutely amazing on this. It looks like President Trump has just said, hey, you take care of this particular issue with the media, and he's been doing a fine job of it. He explained it obviously better than I could. But emergency healthcare, guys, you go into the emergency room, oftentimes you'll see a bunch of illegal aliens there, especially in places like California, New York, and big cities and stuff like that. But you'll see it out here as well. And what will happen is basically a lot of these hospitals will get funds where illegal aliens are being paid for indirectly. All right. Or you're going to treat illegal aliens, wink, wink. We're not going to say that, but we're going to give you additional funds, federal funding, so that in case they do come through your door, you'll get a little bit of cheddar here. I mean, that's how it works. And then mass parole for illegal aliens. That's what's happening. This is why I want the federal government to be cut down using RIF. RIF stands for reductions in force. This is DOGE. I mean, this is DOGE 2.0. I absolutely love this. So again, going back to this article from the Daily Signal, Rust Vote last week, the White House at the White House Office of Management and Budget again released a memo telling federal agencies that if the government were to shut down, and it is, they should consider engaging in reductions in force to begin the process of laying off employees and projects that are not funded during the shutdown or that are inconsistent with Trump's priorities. So essentially, when the government shuts down, right, you have non-essential parts of the government that are not going to be funded, that simply aren't going to get money. Now, you do have the essential parts of government where they won't get paid right then, but they'll get back pay. But you also have those parts of government that are non-essential. Those parts of government that are non-essential, President Trump and Russ Vought can start looking at those and saying, we don't need that. We don't need that. So in other words, if the government is still running and they're having to fund this stuff, Democrats can run to court and say, hey, look, they're taking away these federal funds and all of this stuff. But now that a shutdown has occurred, technically there is no money there to fund any of these programs. So now Russ Vought, head of the Office of Management and Budget, has to say, okay, we got to make some tough decisions because we have no money and Democrats can't run to court to stop it. Because the money isn't there. The reductions in force, RIF, is DOGE 2.0. And by shutting down the government, because Democrats wanted this to happen, why? Because they hate Trump so much. They keep losing to Trump in polls. They can't stand what Trump is doing, trying to clean up crime and now in Memphis and different parts and in Portland, Oregon. I'll have to save that story for another day. They're trying to clean up crime, and Democrats literally have nothing. So they wanted to try to get back on Trump and turn a government shutdown against him, and it is killing them. This is what AOC wanted. Apparently, this is what Pelosi wanted, and it is backfiring on the Democrats, at least for now. But I suspect it will. But President Trump has to take advantage of what Russ Vought can do right now and start cutting the size and the scope of the non-essential parts of the federal government. Democrats made a huge mistake. You have the American Federation of Government Employees. That's the largest federal government union. They filed a lawsuit aiming to block the OMB memo, claiming that it violated the Administrative Procedures Act. The lawsuit claims that the memo misstates the law and that any work to carry out a reduction in force is not authorized under the Anti-Deficiency Act, which stipulates how the government should operate during shutdowns. No, they screwed up big time. These same federal government unions or federal government union were the same ones protesting against DOGE. But these dummies were walking hand in hand with the Democrat Party who decided to shut down the government, and they forgot about the reductions in forces. And so now these people can be cut. I love it. I love it. I hope this government, we should have a government shutdown once a year, every year, just for fun. We probably cut down the federal deficit or the federal debt if we did once a year. Why not? I'd do it. I love it.